Hello guys, it's Pedro. And in today's video, I would like to dive into, something that I've been noticing over the years and I keep noticing sometimes. And this is something that touches both ends of the spectrum of an experienced people, right? Where people more experienced, people not as experienced. And what I'm talking about is like knowledge overall and the urgency that sometimes some of these people that I've interacted with and I continue to interact with, like this feeling about like they think that they need to know about everything in order for them to get noticed to advancing their careers. And this is the type of stuff that I would like to talk about today. And the first thing that I would like to mention first is you can't learn everything. And I think this is a very important starting point for this conversation, and for you guys to realize that it's just a fact. You can't learn everything, and on top of that, it's not because you're learning everything or everything that you can that will be what's going to take you to the next level of your career, right? And there's a few things, a few angles that I would like to also tap into in this video, which is the following. So when I see these people with this urgency and this anxiety, because that's also what comes with it, it implies that they are worried that if they don't know about like all these things, and there's a multitude of what this can mean in terms of like these types of or pieces of knowledge, but there's like this anxiety in some of them that they think that if they don't do it, if they don't know about these things, they will not be able to line up like the next job. They worried that they're gonna be let go, all of that kind of stuff, right? And it's not because you are putting your energy and your focus into a multitude of stuff that will make you advance or secure your job. Quite the opposite, and sometimes can be that can be exactly the opposite, as I said before, of what can happen depending on how what's the extension of how you feel about this if you are one of these people, right? And during my time, I've interviewed, I've dealt, I've managed, I've hired hundreds of people, and one thing that I was always looking for was focus. Okay, about like the if I'm hiring someone, if I'm interviewing someone, I need someone for a specific role. So I want that person on the other side to come across as someone that is really proactive and has the right focus on the stuff that I'm hiring for, right? So that's I think easy to understand. And I think like a lot of people miss this part, which is exactly what I just mentioned, focus. So when you think you need to learn about everything, that means that you don't have a plan, you don't have a focus, you don't have a strategy. You just want to learn about everything because you're worried, as I said before, that or part of the worries or part of the reasons why you have this behavior is because you think that you're not going to be able to compete with other people that you think know all about this stuff and they are above you and you're not. So you want to be there. So that means that you need to learn about all of this kind of stuff. And if that's the reason, that also means that you are only in the job that you are currently, or in the job that you're trying to secure, or in the world that you're trying to work, for, let's say in this case VFX, right? Because you just want a job, right? You worry about the job, you just want a job, you don't want to lose your job, and job is important, and of course all of that kind of stuff is important, like the fact that you have a job, obviously, right? But life should be more about just survival in that sense. So when you play things in this way, like I need to know about all about these things, you are going against exactly what your desire is, because you are putting your attention in a lot of other stuff that might not be what triggers people noticing you, because you're putting your effort into the right stuff as opposed to just knowing a little bit of everything, right? And again, take this from someone that dealt, interviewed, managed hundreds of people of all levels, supervision included, of course, over the years. And one thing that I was always looking for was focus. Focus is important. And when you don't have the focus, that means that you don't have a direction, you don't have the vision, you don't have the strategy, you don't have even a goal potentially, because you don't have a focus. So how can you focus on something that you just know a little bit of everything? And when you have that kind of stuff in you, that can also be present in your behavior and how you come across when you are, for example, on an interview, which again goes against exactly this type of stuff that you want to protect yourself from. So you're shooting potentially yourself in the foot because of this, right? So you can come across a little bit nervous, a little bit of like showing off everything that you know and would like to know, and all of that kind of stuff. And from who's on the other side, that might come across as someone again that knows a little bit of everything, a jack of all trades, but a master of none, right? And we know that this industry works primarily with people that are specialists on something, right? We all work in different departments, so that department in itself is a specialization, right? So I think you will benefit more on focusing on something, on having a plan, on setting out a vision and working towards that vision, as opposed to just distract your attention for multiple angles and multiple subjects. Okay, because I don't think that will benefit you. And as I said before, it can even work against you depending on how you behave yourself, for example, on an interview, right? Because of this reason. And one of the things that, or one of the reasons primarily, perhaps, that makes us successful at Complair on providing results to others is exactly because we are very focused on what the goal of the program is. We have a specific goal, and everything that comes inside, it's looking only for that goal. Everything that is outside, as interesting or sometimes as important in some aspects, that can be, if it's not part of the goal, it doesn't matter for the goal. So we are super laser focused on what we have to do in front of us, what is the type of knowledge and the angle of that type of knowledge that we have to have in order for us to achieve the goal that we are set ourselves to do. And that's why we've been able to provide the results that you guys can look up yourselves. And there's a link in the description that you can look up, or a couple of them at least. And we work with experienced compositors, lead compositors, compositing supervisors, CG supervisors, VFX supervisors, and even business owners. We have them, and all of them, they know. Also, it's also important to have this, as I said before, in terms of like knowing exactly what your goal is, primarily knowing where you want to go, where you want to head, right? So when we start working with some of these people, the great majority of them, if not all of them, they already know what are the things that they need to improve. They're done with the excuses, they're ready to start, and they have a clear vision about like what they want to achieve. They're not playing around. You see what I'm saying? They know exactly what they want, and that's like a primary foundation, if not the most important foundation, on why they will be successful. Because everything that we're gonna work with them for, it's only for that goal, and that goal only. Okay, which includes many different things, but again, it's a one goal. It's very specific. So going outside like the program itself and what we have to offer and the people that we work for, I want to also give you some of that kind of value for yourself in order for you to maybe perhaps change the way that you go about these things. So if you're seeking like to be successful and perhaps attain different levels in your career trajectory, here's a few things that I think in order that you should follow for that purpose, right? First of all, as I said multiple times in this conversation already, set a goal. That's the foundation. You need to have a goal. You need to have an objective, right? Then, as I said in other videos, set out that plan on the calendar and work, from back to front as opposed to front to back, which is normally what people do, right? So we talked about this before as well. And also very important, which takes me to the beginning of this conversation, set out what you need to know and you need to learn for that specific goal. All right? Not other stuff, what you need to do and what you need to learn for that specific goal. And also as important, set out or identify what you don't need to know because it's not part of that goal. Okay? No one almost that I know of do this kind of stuff. Knowing about like cool stuff to learn and all these new shiny objects, very easy to do and very enticing to do because it's new and everybody likes to try new things and things that look cool and stuff like that, right? But when you do that, you're putting your energy into something different that is not the thing that will make you potentially reach the levels that you, or the role that you like to attain, right? And when you do like these 4 steps, the last step is to start now. Don't start next year. Don't start, next month or next week or tomorrow. Start today. You're watching this now. Identify these things that I just mentioned. Set up the goal. Map them on the calendar. Work and work like back to front, as I said before. Identify what you need to know for that goal and what you don't need to know that probably you already on that path of learning like things. But if those things are not related with the goal, forget them, because it's not part of of where you want to go. As interesting as they can be and all of that kind of stuff, it's not part of the goal, so they should be aside for in terms of like what your plan is. Okay. And if you don't this immediately, what this will mean potentially is you will lose the moment which comes with all this excitement about like, growing and all these dreams that you have and the vision, mainly the vision that you have for your future, which is a fundamental part on how you keep building your momentum for success. Okay, you need to have this vision. And when you delay this over and over again, oh, it's next week or it's next year or next couple of months or whatever, that kind of stuff, that kind of excitement fades away, and it's very hard to recover that, So it's an important, I would say, how can I say, it's an important part of time that you shouldn't lose, because there's so much that comes with it, mentally speaking, right? And then if you don't do that kind of stuff, what happens naturally? Life happens, right? Life, in terms of like chores that you need to do, all excuses. If you have family, of course, family comes into play, or should always come into play, obviously. But all of these little things will keep heading up until you say, okay, you know what? Maybe next year I'll do it. And then next year comes, and it's the same thing, right? So if you want to do this, start now. The most successful people that I've worked with are the ones that do exactly what I just mentioned. They're done with the excuses. They know exactly what they want. They need the help. They will go for help, whatever help they need to have for whatever stuff that they need to solve, or that they identify that they need to solve. But they go for help if they need it, where they think they're going to need it. Because otherwise, they already know, because they are experienced already, that it's not going to happen, because they tried it before. They pushed this in the calendar multiple times, and they're very experienced. For whatever reason, they need like some assistance or some help on certain things, and that's from personal experience exactly how we are able to help so many people. And the people that we are able to help and they are more successful are exactly the ones that have this kind of behavior. They're done with excuses. They know exactly what they want. They have sort of like, they might not have a plan. There might be something that they need help for, and that's why we are here as well, and with a lot of other stuff. But they are committed. I think this sums it up. They are committed to change, and they're done with excuses, right? And so when that happens, everything becomes way easier, because you forget what doesn't matter. You just have like focus on one thing only, and you have a way better chance to attain one thing, as opposed to trying to get all these things on your plate and knowing all of them. And even if you're able to, what does that mean really for your career trajectory? Maybe it doesn't matter anything, you know what I mean? Because you're going to focus on multiple things as opposed to one thing that can be so, you can be so much better than anyone else if you just focus on one thing as opposed to multiple things, okay? And as I said before, I think it's important also to identify where you need the help. And this is not a sales pitch or whatever, okay? It's, you find the help wherever you think it's best for you, whoever you resonate most with. But if you think you need the help, go for it, because it will save you a ton of time. It will save you a ton of guesses. And sometimes what happens in life is, if you go left or if you go right, that can mean completely different things for your life, right? So if you are guessing, maybe you take a turn to the right when the right turn should be to the left, and then life happens in a way that if it was for the left, it would happen in a completely different way, right? And if you think that, also, I see sometimes this in more young people, not everyone, but in more young people, that, oh, but I can learn everything like on YouTube or whatever. I mean, if you are one of these people, you need to think this again, okay? Because if that were true, if that were true, the thing that you need to ask yourself is the following. If that's true, that means that everybody has access to all of this in the same way that I have, right? Because it's on YouTube or whatever platform. And if that's the case, why only a small percentage of people are able to attain that kind of result that you are trying to attain? That means that probably not everything is on outside, like out there, right? For people to consume like that, right? And content is a piece of the puzzle, but it's not where everything is born and dies in terms of like your ability to attain like success in your career, because that means way more stuff. That means knowing the right people at the right time, by the way. It's not so much about like who you know now, it's more about like who do you don't know yet in your life that can change, that can dramatically change your life. You know what I mean? And this is also part of, you know, again, what we offer and what we, part of the reason why we've been so successful. It seems like I'm pitching it. That's not my intention. If you think that's the case, it's not my intention. You seek help where you think you need to seek help, whatever, whatever works for you, right? I'm just saying that it's important to have the awareness that if that's where you need help, go for it, because otherwise you're just going to waste time and trying and error and going again and failing again potentially, and it will come to a point in which, and I've seen this multiple times, that's why I'm saying this so passionately, in which people just they just lose hope, and they think, okay, you know, this is not happening to me, so it's just it is what it is, so I'm just gonna either continue in the same way, not very happy. There will come a point in which, of course, there's a limit for that as well. And then, life should be more about just mere, just survival, really, as I said before. You are entitled to dream big. You are entitled to attain exactly what you want to attain. Because if it happened to others, why shouldn't it happen to you? If you need help, seek for help. If you don't need the help and you have like the plan in your mind, just work for that plan and action that plan, But don't plan too much, as in like, oh, maybe next year, maybe a couple of years, maybe 5 years. No, start now with whatever thing that you can start with, but start. Don't push this on the calendar like time and time and time again, because otherwise it will never happen. So you need to have a goal. You then need to action that goal. You need to identify once again what you need to know for that goal, and what you don't need to know for that goal is equally important, okay? So this sums it up about like the message that I wanted to give you and the value that I wanted to give you today, as in like this urgency that sometimes I see in people, that they think that they need to learn everything. You don't need to learn everything, because there's no time to learn everything. And even if you have the time, and even if you have the capacity of learning like a lot of stuff, you need to ask yourself, is that contributing? The energy that I'm putting in, is it contributing for the goal that I really, really, really want? That's the question. And then after that, just put things in action, okay? So look, now comes the pitch. If your choice of help falls on us, very simply, just go on the description below and book a call with us, and then we'll see after the conversation that if we can help you. If we can help you, we'll tell you how we can help you. If we cannot help you, we will tell you also that maybe we're not the right partners for each other, because it's about a partnership, and I think that's very important, okay? But in any case, put that aside and just think about like how you are thinking about the knowledge that you have to have for the goal. Most likely what happens, and again, this is from experience, and maybe you are one of these people, maybe you're not, I'm just talking to a large audience, right? You need to have a goal first, otherwise you don't know what are the things that you need to identify that you need to know, and the things that you need to identify that you don't need to know. So don't put your energy and your effort on that kind of stuff. Without a goal, you cannot identify any of this. So the goal is very important, And the awareness of you can't learn everything is really, really, really important as well. So I hope you liked it, and I'll see you next time. Okay? Bye-bye.